How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
Some idea.
I am not completely like other people.
What do you mean by that?
People dislike me because I am not completely like them. I am trying to do with my life something which few people try to do, and this influences my thinking and consequently my action.
What is it you're trying to do with your life?
Play the piano for people.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.
this the end? There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final time. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final
Hey, what up, everyone? Welcome to The Cult. The Cult is a show that I stream Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. on this here YouTube channel, on Rumble, on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, where we talk about really whatever I feel like talking about on any given day. Normally we tune into the cult of the far left. Sometimes we talk about the cult of the far right, or the cult of the classical liberals, or any other topic I feel like covering. But you know what? We are going to be going to the far left today. We have to catch up with our old friends, the Revolutionary Communists of America. I haven't been covering the RCA that much, and quite frankly, the reason that I have not been covering the RCA all that much is because I think they like it a little too much when I do. I think they like it a little too much. And so, because they've tried to like egg me on to cover their stuff. And I'm just like, I feel like you're trying to bait me into something. If I feel like covering you, I'll cover you. But like, don't do this PR thing where you're trying to bait me into covering you so that you can get your message out there. So I was a little bit turned off by that, to be honest, because I'm like, if a communist wants something from me, I'm like, why am I giving it to you? Like, it could be in a situation where it's, like, mutually beneficial for us, right? Like, if Sophie wanted to come on my channel, she was like, Carlin, I really want to come be interviewed by you. I'd be like, Sophie, why have you been rebuffing my advances for, like, 2 years now then? But I would do it. I would do it. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. I would absolutely, like, I would be like, Sophie, I will rearrange my schedule around having you be on my channel. But if she came to me and she was like, Carlin, can I come on your channel and be interviewed? I'd be like, yeah, but what happened? What's going on? What are you trying to accomplish? I would still do it, though, not gonna lie. And you know, kind of the same thing with the RCA. I'm not opposed to covering the RCA. We need to cover the RCA. The RCA is one of the fastest growing and, quite frankly, most effective communist groups at actually recruiting people, especially young people, targeting college campuses. They also target unions in workplaces to recruit people. They are actually highly organized. They hold these Marxist school events all over the place. The Canadian version of the RCA, which is basically the whole bunch of different countries have their own version of this. They're all associated with this thing called Revolutionary Communist International. It used to be called the International Marxist Tendency, but they've renamed themselves. And so there is a Canadian version of this thing that we asked James Lindsay about last week that he didn't know anything about, but we know about them because we've been covering them. We've covered the Canadian version. The Canadian version just had Marxist school this past weekend. They had 600 people, I think, go to Montreal to learn about Marxism all weekend. Maybe they'll put those videos online for us eventually. That would be really nice. But so we do have to cover the RCA, but I was a little bit suspicious about why they wanted me to post their stuff so badly, and so that's kind of why I took a little bit of a break for them. But we do need to go back because they are posting a whole bunch of videos about Trump, and I want to watch this one. This is what we're going to start with. It says, the libs can't beat Trump, and then it says, we need to fight Trump and the liberals. And the reason that I wanted to start with this video today is, can I just tell you guys? Can I just tell you? So after our stream yesterday, I posted clips from our stream yesterday, which was all about the Tempest Collective. The Tempest Collective is a far-left radical revolutionary socialist group we've covered extensively on this channel. The Tempest Collective had a little meeting in Vermont last week where they were organizing teachers to try to create sanctuary schools in Vermont all over the state to try to defy the Trump administration and protect people from being deported. And I reported on this, and I posted the clips of this, and we've got a librarian from the Winooski School District. We've got teachers unions members. There's 2 members of the University of Vermont faculty that are members of the Tempest Collective. And again, the Tempest Collective is literally a radical revolutionary collective that wants to overthrow the federal government. This is an extremely far-left group. And, these are the ones pushing the idea of doing sanctuary schools in public schools, working with the teachers unions, working with faculty at public universities that are paid for by our tax dollar. So I covered this, and it's making the rounds. It's not getting a ton of views on Twitter. What is it up to now? See, people thought this was going to go viral. I knew this wasn't going to go viral because people don't care. 30,000 views? I mean, I guess nothing to sneeze at. I'm not opposed to getting 30,000 views. If the right actually cared about defeating the left as much as the right claimed to care about defeating the left, it would have significantly more views. But amazingly enough, even though the right just complains about communism all day, every day, when you actually put real communists in front of them and say, this is a librarian in a public school district that is openly talking about defying the Trump administration to protect illegal aliens from deportation, and you give them video evidence, they still don't give a fuck. And what was so interesting to me today is I actually had a conversation in the DMs with a friend of mine, and I love him dearly. I'm not going to name him because I don't want to embarrass him because I do love him, but he is an influencer. He's one of those people that gets invited to like Mar-a-Lago and stuff when Trump does stuff, and he has a much bigger platform than I do, and he gets many more people looking at his content than I do. And he said to me, and he is someone that I've known for years, and I wanted to reach through the computer and strangle him because he said to me when I sent him this video, he said, Carlin, you don't really think these people are dangerous, do you? Because the Democratic Party are a defeated party. And you don't really think that these people are dangerous. Like they're completely defeated. And I wanted to reach through the computer and strangle him and be like, these are not Democrats. I was like, I got incredulous, and I was like, I have been talking about this for years. I have been showing you evidence of this for years. Yes, these people are dangerous. Yes, they're trying to overthrow the federal government. No, they are not Democrats. And then he was like, but the Democrats have embraced their policy. I'm like, bro, these people hate the fucking Democrats. They hate the Democrats. They are actively going to use the Trump administration to peel as many people away from the Democrats as they possibly can to radicalize them to the real far left, which is where all the crazy shit is coming from. And he didn't want to hear it. And he was like, but we beat them, but Trump is going to save us. I was like, no, Trump is not going to save you. And then I talked to another activist friend of mine, someone who has done an astronomical amount of work fighting back against critical race theory in the schools, fighting back against gender ideology in schools. The person I talked to has done more than almost anyone and does not get the credit that she deserves at all. And she told me, Carlin, I'm just packing things up basically because everyone on the right thinks that we won and they just think that Trump is going to save them and none of them want to do anything anymore. And I was like, I know. And it's infuriating. It's really infuriating. And I am owed some $2 Carlin is right super chats for anyone who didn't believe me, because I said this was going to happen. I literally said this was going to happen. I said as soon as Trump gets into office, the conservative base is going to lull themselves to sleep because Trump will save us. We don't have to worry anymore. We don't have to do this anymore. Trump will save us. Everything is fine. We won. They lost. And it's like, do you know why the left wins and the right loses every single time? Because the left never stops. The right honestly thinks that the Democratic Party is fully encompassing of the left, first of all. They really think everyone on the left has just packed up their toys and gone home because they're all defeated and they're all going to stop now. And I'm just like, do you have no sense of history, sir? Do you have no sense of history? You people talk about history all the time. You people write all these books supposing to care about this stuff. You talk about this all the time on your stupid podcasts and your stupid shows. Do you not understand that this ideology has been percolating in this country for 100 fucking years? It has been through conservative presidencies. Queer ideology exploded under fucking Reagan. Yeah, it's okay. Trust the plan. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Moxie, thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it. See, Moxie is following the honor system. So even if we put out videos like this of saying these are legitimate far-left revolutionary socialists, this is a school librarian, there are other teachers there in the teachers' unions, they're telling you exactly what they're going to do. They're telling you how they're going to fight this. Conservatives are like, I don't even know why we care about this stuff anymore because we won and they lost and Trump is going to fix everything and we canceled DEI and woke is dead and we fixed everything. And I'm just like, I actually had a woman tell me today, well, I don't see this stuff going on in Texas. Have you visited Austin lately? Because I can literally show you people in Austin that are doing this. Like, this isn't even that big of a challenge to me. So it's a little depressing. It's a little depressing that we can literally find stuff like this and no one cares. No one cares. No one takes it seriously. Everyone thinks it's all over. Honestly though, this is probably going to be good for us because what's going to happen is the left is only going to keep going. They're only going to get worse. They're only going to be protesting in higher volumes the warmer the weather gets. And when the left really starts causing trouble this summer when they have nothing else to do, the right's going to start complaining. They're going to start going, how did this happen? Trump was going to save us. How did this happen? Trump is going to save us. And then everyone's going to be surprised. And I'm going to be like, where the fuck were you guys? Because I literally told you this was happening. I literally fucking told you this was happening. I laid it out explicitly. I showed you their fucking documents. I showed you their training meetings. And what I got from you was, I don't even know why you're worried about this, Carlin, because Trump's executive orders is going to solve everything, okay? Can't say we didn't try. But if you want to share the Twitter thread, if you want to let people know that this is actually like kind of a serious thing and the entire state of Vermont is basically rebelling against the Trump administration right now, hey, please feel free to share that Twitter thread. Let people know. I also do have the article up on my Substack. If you're not on Twitter, that's fine. You can find all the same resources over on the Substack. It's right on the homepage right now. It's called Socialist Teachers Organized to Defy Trump. You can see there is the same video clips that are on Twitter are in the Substack, so you can play the clips, you can share this with people, and while you're over there, if you want to support the work I'm doing, you can sign up as a supporter on the Substack for $8 a month, $80 a year. I really do appreciate it. And hey, guess what? Can we talk about some good news? My book is out. It's a little inconvenient that I came on a day where I was talking about socialists organizing to defy Trump deportation orders, because that just kind of overshadows the book release a little bit, but the book is out. It's out on Amazon. You can buy it in paperback and Kindle. If you aren't a member of the Red Menace Collective, this is the best way to get it. It's the only way to get it if you're not a member of the Red Menace Collective, because that's where I'm selling it through. And so if you want to head over to Amazon, you can pick it up now. Paperback's up, Kindle's up. It looks great. I'm really excited about it. You know, I gotta say, there is something about there. Look, I'm even #1 new release in a category. I don't know how the competitive that category is, but I'm a #1 new release. So hey, I guess there's that. You know, there is something to be like. This is the 3rd book that I've released. The first 2 books I released through quote unquote real publishers, like New York City publishers, and I got my big time book deal and all that stuff, and that was pretty cool, I have to say. But you know what? The thing is, I actually find this to be much more satisfying. Like, this is actually really cool. I'm actually like really proud of myself. I started a publishing company, and now I've just got a laundry list of books I'm just going to crank out. I'm going to try to crank out a lot of books this year. Big books, small books, like niche books, more expansive books. I've got plans for books this year, and you know, getting the first one out of the way, and I'm actually glad it ended up being this one because it was a little bit of a shorter book. It was like a less heavy lift than some of the other books I want to write. I'm really glad I kind of got this one out of the way so I could understand the whole process. I could, you know, figure out how to do everything, because it seemed really overwhelming to me. It seemed really daunting. And now that I've done one, I'm like, let's do another one. Let's do another one after that. I've got like 5 different books planned right now. I've got books that are going to be surprises for you guys that you aren't going to see coming, but that you're really going to appreciate, I think. So the book I released is called A Brief History of Racism. We've talked about it on the channel before. If you would like to hear a clip of me reading the introduction and the prologue, you can find that over on the Substack. You can also find it on the YouTube channel if you want to listen to a clip of that. I'm pretty proud of the book. I think the book is great. It is basically tracking the origin and the development of the term racism. So who invented the term racism? What did it mean when it was invented? How did the definition of the term racism evolve? And I had a lot of fun researching it. I had a lot of fun writing it. I found the topic to be really fascinating and very relevant to where we are today. And the book goes all the way up to present day. I literally just finished it like last week. The book goes all the way up to present day. It even talks about Trump's executive orders that he issued and what they actually do. And so pick it up in paperback and Amazon. If you have read the book, you know, please feel free to leave it a 5-star review. 5 stars only. If you have anything less than 5 stars, keep it to yourself. But do please remember to leave a review on Amazon, because the reviews really do help, and I would really appreciate it. So pick up the book, and thank you guys for your support in writing it. I think it's great. And also, as a reminder, if you want to get some sweet, sweet merch in the Unwoke Art Store, we got a couple things going on right now. First of all, to celebrate the book's release, we do have the Red Menace Collective signature collection on sale. The Red Menace Collective is, of course, my very special book supporters over on redmenacecollective.substack.com, who actually pay to fund the books. You guys get advanced sneak previews of the chapters as I'm writing them. You guys get free digital copies of the book when it gets released. Before anyone else, you got your copies last week. So if you want to get one of my signature Red Menace Collective designs on t-shirts or hoodies or mugs or what have you, they are 25% off in the Unwoke Art Store to celebrate the release of the book, and as my thank you for you guys supporting the work I'm doing. I really appreciate it. And then we still have, for the rest of the month, we have the limited edition Abolish Public Schools collection. And listen, man, given that I literally just found video of public school teachers at far-left radical revolutionary socialist organizing meetings, and Trump's executive order ain't signing that away. Can we all just get around the idea that abolishing the public schools, like really abolishing the public schools, should be a conversation that we're having right now? I just think that that is a good idea. I'm just saying. And so if you want to wear that on your body, pick up the shirt. Just says Abolish Public Schools. Looks cool. Looks rad. Doesn't look like stuffy merch, and that's really what we're going for. So Maritza says, I received my order from the Unwoke Art Store today. Excited to give the mugs as gift. Hey, Maritza, I'm really glad you received that order. Take a picture of it and send it to me if you wouldn't mind. I would love to see it. All right, guys, let's get into our communists. And we might watch 1 or 2 videos from the communists today. We might watch a couple, just depending. But I do want to start with this video. The libs can't beat Trump. Oh, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. So everyone, please make sure you mount the like button. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you're not already. And let's listen to the communists talk about how liberals are just as bad as Republicans.
Donald Trump,
and,
Elon
hang
Musk,
on.
and their cabinet of billionaires are smashing
Not
up
yet.
the establishment
Why?
in the bourgeois.
Why? Not yet. I didn't hit play, YouTube. I didn't hit play. I didn't tell you to go yet. Just load. Hang on. There we go. All right, so we are watching the Revolutionary Communists of America, and they are an extremely far-left Revolutionary Communist Party. They are more economic communists than they are queer Marxists. They actually kind of reject queer Marxism, so they're a little bit different than some of the other groups that we watch in that regard. There we go. And so if you guys have questions, oh, that's not right. Hang on. That's right. There we go. If you guys have questions, please feel free to chat them in as they come up. If this is your first time watching communism, please do not assume you know everything, because chances are you do not. And but we'll help you learn. All right, let's dig in.
Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and their cabinet of billionaires are smashing up the establishment in the bourgeois state apparatus. Liberal politicians are crying about the end of democracy in the rules-based order. But U.S. imperialism has always been a reactionary force for counter-revolution and worldwide oppression. Communists take no sides in the fight between the two wings of the capitalists and their bureaucracy. Trump 2.0 represents a new and very convulsive chapter for U.S. imperialism in its period of decline.
What was that? Come on. What was that? What was that, communist? What did the communists just say? Hang on.
And worldwide oppression. Communists take no sides in the fight between the two wings of the capitalists and their bureaucracy.
Communists take no sides in the fight between the two wings of the capitalists and their bureaucracy. When the communist is saying that they don't take a side between the two wings of the capitalists and their fight in their bureaucracy, of the capitalists and their bureaucracy, there we go. What do they mean when they say the two wings? The communists take no sides in the fight between the two wings of the capitalists and their bureaucracy. What do they mean when they say the two wings? Pop quiz for the chat. Yeah, they mean Republicans and Democrats. So in case anyone is unclear, communists are not the same as Democrats. Communists are not on the side of the Democrats. Communists are telling you explicitly that they hate the Democrats. They are both capitalist parties. They don't like the Democrats any more than they like the Republicans. They hate them both. So for any conservatives who might believe that the Democrats have embraced the policies of the communists, the real communists, the ones that are pushing all the crazy shit, they are explicitly, in no uncertain terms, telling you that no, the Democrats have not embraced their policy, and they do not believe the Democrats are any different than the Republicans. And until conservatives learn this, that Democrats and communists are not the same thing, they've never been the same thing, and every fucking time you conflate the two and you say, Democrats are communists, Democrats are communists, Democrats are communists, you are actually running cover for the real far left, allowing the real far left to operate completely unopposed in this country, because you just think they're Democrats. And oh my God, the Democratic Party is defeated right now, Carlin. Don't you know the Democrats are defeated? Fine. Who gives a fuck? It's not the Democrats who are pushing the really crazy shit. It's the fucking communists. Well, Colin, there are no elected communists. That's not how they win, assholes. It's not how they've ever won. It's not how they've ever done anything. They have never advanced their interests via elective office in the 100+ years they've been doing this, and you really think that's what they need to do now? I may have been working out some feelings just then for having this conversation every day for literally years and never being listened to, ever. Hey, Kazmar, I appreciate the $20. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Trump 2.0 represents a new and very convulsive chapter for US imperialism in its period of decline. And no matter what, the working class will be made to pay for the decay of their system, unless we organize for revolution, to overthrow the entire political and economic order. Since the day of his inauguration, among other things, Trump has attacked immigrants, trans people, and Palestinians, both in Gaza and the West Bank, and threatened further revenge on his enemies. So why haven't we yet seen a mass resistance to his reactionary policies? You might remember the hashtag resistance.
Now, this is a question they are having. I have now heard multiple communist groups use exactly this line. I've heard Antifa use this line. We heard the Tempest Collective use this line yesterday, and now you're hearing the Revolutionary Communists of America use this line. And they're all basically saying the same thing, which is, we had all this resistance in 2016. What the fuck happened, guys? Now, if you're a conservative and you think that this is all that matters, because you're confused about Democrats and communists being the same thing, what you might be thinking is, well, Carlin, isn't this proof that the left isn't as effective? And what I'm going to tell you is, no, it isn't. Because most of the people who were participating in those protests in 2016 were not radical revolutionary leftists. They were do-gooder progressives. And those are two different things. Because where the right is correct is that the Democratic Party is completely demoralized. What the right doesn't understand is that the real far left are not experiencing the same demoralization that the Democratic Party is. But what they're trying to do is to find all of the disaffected Democrats, all the disaffected lefties, all the disaffected progressives, the people who are like, I can't believe we have to deal with Trump again, and they're crying into their pillow at night. What the radical revolutionary far left is doing is trying to find all these people and speak to them, be like, don't you wish there were more people fighting back? Come over here, we'll fight back. They're trying to radicalize the people who are disappointed with the Democratic Party, and there are a lot of people that are disappointed with the Democratic Party. The demoralization of the Democrats is less about Trump winning and more about them looking at their own party and saying, you assholes failed us. That is where the demoralization of the Democrats comes from. The Democrats were never more alive than under Trump 1.0. The Democrats love being in opposition, except that now the normal people in the Democratic Party believe that the Democratic Party leadership has failed them, and that is where the demoralization is coming from. And guess what? They're going to be looking for other answers, and they're going to be looking for other options. And now you have these far left groups saying, hey guys, do you remember these old days when the protesting was so much bigger than it is now? Why don't we relive those old days? Why don't you come over here with us? The Democrats have failed you. They were never going to be successful. We tried to tell you. But now that you've seen that the Democratic Party is a complete failure, come on over to the radical left. Come on over, join our team. Does everyone understand how this works? Every single fucking influencer that has ever told people, Democrats are communists, Democrats are communists, Democrats are communists, Democrats are communists, they have failed you. They have failed to actually explain what's going on, mostly because they don't fucking understand what's going on, because they have no clue who the enemy is that they're actually fighting. It doesn't matter if the Democrats are demoralized with their party. What matters is it was never the Democrats pushing the craziest shit in the first place. What the Democrats pushed was trickle down from the real radical revolutionary far left. These are the far left policies up here. The trickle down, 5 levels below it, is what the Democratic Party actually implemented. They didn't implement the far left policies. They implemented a few bits and bobs here and there that never pleased the radical revolutionary far left. But what about DEI training, Carlin? We got rid of DEI training. DEI training doesn't fucking matter. Another thing I've been screaming for years. DEI training does not matter. DEI was 5 levels removed from things that actually mattered. It was just a low-level delivery mechanism for these ideas. And what most places are going to do is they're just going to change the name to something else. They're going to change the name. They're going to change the department. They're going to change how they're delivering it. But it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I said this to someone else today. It's like when we're talking about DEI, like you're not talking about the root cause of a problem. You're talking about a symptom of a problem. DEI was never the root cause of the problem. The radical revolutionary far left was the root cause of the problem. Everything they did ended up creating all these different symptoms all throughout our society. One of the very low-level symptoms was DEI. DEI was not the cause, it was the symptom. So say you have a really bad flu, and your body's aching, and your head is hurting, and you're sweating, and you're exhausted, and you can't get up, and your stomach feels bad, you don't want to eat, and you got a cough, and like everything that is possibly going wrong is going wrong because of this flu, right? But then you take a cough drop. And, you know, you may still have a whole bunch of other stuff going wrong, but man, that cough drop has, you know, you're not coughing right now. Your throat feels a little bit better. Getting rid of DEI is the fucking cough drop. That's what we're talking about. Getting rid of DEI does not cure the cold. It does not fix every problem. All getting rid of DEI does is it makes your throat feel a little bit better for a couple hours, which is important, and it's not something that's insignificant, but it is the cough drop. It is not pulling the problem out by the root. And therefore, the problem will still perpetuate in a myriad of different ways because the right hasn't figured out that Democrats are not communists and that DEI was never the root cause of the fucking problem in the fucking first place. And it is infuriating. It is infuriating to have been sitting on the internet. Literally, I've been screaming this for 4 years. I'm sorry to work out my feelings, but I have been talking about this for 4 fucking years. I have been posting on Twitter all the time about it. I have posted video clips proving it. I have tried to educate people in every single way I possibly can, and no one is listening. No one is actually looking at the evidence. No one is actually listening to the left. When are these people going to start to listen? Probably never. Anyway, let's listen to the communists recruit the Democrats that are disaffected and demoralized by their party to come over to the radical revolutionary left, because that's sure to make things better for all of us, right?
That popped up against Donald Trump's victory in 2016. Those were noteworthy expressions of popular rejection of this self-interested real estate billionaire in the White House. But due to the lack of a real left-wing alternative, these movements were dominated by liberal politics and the Democratic Party. That's why they failed, and that's why Trump has come back.
What did I say? What did I say they were going to say? I didn't preview this video. This is the first time I'm seeing this video. What did I tell you they were going to say? Do you know why the 2016 protests failed and Trump came back? Because the liberals failed. The Democratic Party failed all of you. They were the reason that these 2016 protests, that the 2016 resist came back, is because we never built a real far left alternative. It was just Democrats and liberals and progressives dicking around. Literally what he just said. So what's the solution to that? Now we've got to build a real far-left alternative. Guys, come on. Come on over. Radicalize yourself. Time to become anti-capitalists. Listen to that again. Goddamn. I know how to I know how to predict these people. I know these people better than they know themselves sometimes. It is so easy for me to see where they're going, and I think many people in my audience that watch this stuff with me feel the same way because they are so consistent in their messaging, and it is so infuriating. It is fucking infuriating that no one bothered to listen to them. They're telling you what they're doing. No one bothered to listen.
seen a mass resistance to his reactionary policies. You might remember the hashtag resistance that popped up against Donald Trump's victory in 2016. Those were noteworthy expressions of popular rejection of this self-interested real estate billionaire in the White House. But due to the lack of a real left-wing alternative, these movements were dominated by liberal politics and the Democratic Party. That's why they failed, and that's why Trump has come back even stronger. Today, the Democrats and the entire political establishment are totally discredited. After the failed promises of the Obama administration, 4 years of Genocide Joe, rampant inflation, and worsening living standards, people have had enough of the liberals' hypocrisy. Millions have drawn the correct conclusion: the Democrats don't represent our interests. Workers are looking for an alternative. Trump emerged from this political vacuum, tapping into it in a distorted, reactionary way. With his right-wing demagogy and unpredictable bluster, he's able to present himself as an outsider.
I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
With this, he's diverting working-class anger to serve the interests of his class of billionaires. Now even the appearance of any resistance has been lacking from the Democrats. They are in panic mode, paralyzed by their defeat. People who participated in the women's marches watched as Democrats did nothing when abortion rights were ripped away. Many were disgusted by their role in the genocidal war in Gaza. Most were disappointed in their failure to alleviate the cost of living and even make good on Biden's modest promises about student loan forgiveness. We were told there was no money to do those things. All the while they were dumping billions and billions of dollars in defense contracts to arm Ukraine to fight a losing war. The US has spent more money on the Ukraine war than the entire Marshall Plan after World War II. And all they have to show for it is a historic and humiliating defeat against Russia. Biden even doubled down on funding the police more. Police that were used to crush the BLM movement and later the Palestine Solidarity movement. The Democrats squashed potential strikes, like the railroad workers strike, which even AOC voted to ban. Biden is a consistent, quintessential Democrat, an imperialist and capitalist politician.
Why do you come on this channel? Why are you here? I want an explicit answer from you right now. Why are you here? Because you don't learn anything, you don't listen, so why are you here? We're going to wait until you answer. Stop the entire stream just for you. If you don't answer, you're not going to be here anymore. So why are you here? Did someone time him out? Is that why he's not answering? Yeah, no, you're not here to learn. You're not here to learn. You have learned nothing. If you don't understand that DEI has nothing to do with fucking race, then you have learned nothing. This is the fucking problem. This is the fucking problem. Right here. Trump owns liberals. That's not a liberal, you idiot. I cannot, like, the amount of anger I have towards the right now, I'm sorry, maybe I'm having some feelings today, but it is so mind-numbingly frustrating. They're so stupid. They're stupid people. Maybe not all of them are stupid, but most of them are just stupid, ridiculous people that I don't even know how they really exist in the world.
Now the lip service that Joe gave in his farewell address about an
oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence.
is correctly seen as a hypocritical sham. But that's what the Democrats have always been. Now what role do they play? Well, the party that called Trump a fascist had no problem giving him the pomp and circumstance of the inauguration, at least in words, placing their trust in him. And even Bernie Sanders voted to approve State Secretary Marco Rubio, a warmonger from the neocon establishment. At a time when Americans are fed up with the status quo and the credibility of the capitalist institutions are crumbling, these supposed soft-left liberals are trying their best to restore their legitimacy and prop up the system. But it's not working. Trump is disturbing the status quo and flooding the zone, as they say, with a fire hose of changes. They range from culture war nonsense to deportations to even destroying entire institutions like USAID. Elon Musk and Trump characterized this organization as a wasteful and corrupt body that needs to be put through the wood chipper. His crusade against the deep state is actually destroying a useful tool for US imperialist regime change. Early
People just want to be happy for once. They just want to be happy for a while. Well, Kyle, people are being unrealistically happy because they don't have a clue what's going on and they just want to high-five themselves so they can feel morally superior. You're actively losing your real activists. I literally just talked to someone earlier today that has been an activist for years, that has helped countless families, that said, I need to pack it all up and give up because no one else wants to do anything anymore because they all think Trump won. So I hope it's worth it, guys. I really hope it's worth it. I hope taking your victory lap is fucking worth it, because every single activist that I know of that's not working for a grossly biased, like, astroturfed political organization is basically like, we can't even function anymore because no one wants to do anything because they believe Trump's going to save them. So I really hope it's worth it, bro. I hope it's worth it.
Earlier this year, we released this book, Colossus, which actually talks about USAID and its role in US imperialism. Responsible for administering civilian foreign aid and development assistance, its stated mission is to promote and demonstrate democratic values abroad and advance a free, peaceful, and prosperous world. Active in over 100 countries, its 2024 budget included $63.1 billion for foreign assistance and diplomatic engagement. As with the IMF, grants from USAID come with plenty of pro-US strings attached. Our comrades talked about USAID in the podcast Against the Stream.
USAID did have humanitarian so-called programs, but behind all of these programs was always the policies of the CIA. In the 50s, 60s, and 70s, the CIA became very unpopular because of the regime change. Then USAID, which was set up in 61, started taking on this. USAID is nominally an independent agency. There's a degree of separation which allows for plausible deniability for the US government.
Even when they help poor coffee farmers in Colombia, or they have a health program, even when they do that, they do it with the purpose of advancing the influence and the interest of US imperialism. But there's another side to it, which is directly a subversion, political influence, undermining governments. They even have a part of USAID is called the Office for Transition Initiative. Transition from what to what? Transition from a regime that's against the US to a regime that's a puppet of the US.
Trump's aggressive push this round is working as an
So first of all, the communists seem to be telling truths about USAID that even conservative influencers aren't telling, which is interesting, isn't it? Partially because the Republicans are as responsible for this as the Democrats. Everyone understands that, right? It's not as though Republicans didn't understand that USAID was a front for the CIA. Of course they understood it. They went along with it. They supported it. That's why conservative influencers aren't talking about it. They're just talking about all the stupid shit that the government was spending money on. Well, yeah, of course they were spending money on stupid shit, but why aren't you talking about the fact that it was a front for the CIA? Everyone fucking knows it. The Republicans know it. The politicians know it. The fucking communists know it. They're talking about it.
Intended as shock and awe. Denmark's Prime Minister and Justin Trudeau in Canada now know that his ambitions to assert US dominance in their territories is not just blustering. The establishment is seeing that the tariffs are real, that he is deporting tons of immigrants, as Biden had done before him, by the way. In his last presidency, he felt like he was held back by the enormous bureaucracy of the establishment. So now he's coming out, guns blazing, shooting from the hip. And again, we're not surprised by all this, and we're also not scared. There is a way to fight back. The way that we win against Trump is not by clinging on to the lesser evil. We have to fight the class war against the capitalists with a new party of the working class, a communist party. Both the Democrats and the Republicans cynically talk about the elite, the billionaires, the deep state, but fundamentally, they are attached to that class and represent its interests. The only real resistance against Trumpism is a resistance against capitalism. We can't make deals with the capitalist class, and we can't expect their system.
I'm sorry, what was that? What was that? It was just so clear. I'm sorry.
And represent its interests. The only real resistance against Trumpism is a resistance.
What does that say? Let me just do that again, just, without the caption this time, just so everyone can hear again.
The billionaires, the deep state, but fundamentally, they are attached to that class and represent its interests. The only real resistance against Trumpism is a resistance against capitalism. We can't make. Fundamentally, they are attached to that class and represent its interests. The only real resistance against Trumpism is a resistance against capitalism.
Carlin, the left never says capitalism. I don't know why you talk about capitalism all the time. Why, Carlin, aren't you confused? Capitalism is just an economic system, Carlin. How is overthrowing an economic system going to do anything, Carlin? Why are you always talking about capitalism? The left never talks about capitalism. They never even say the word capitalism. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's probably Gnostic. Yeah, it's probably not. This is all Gnosticism. I forgot. This is all just fucking Gnosticism. Yep, exactly.
We can't make deals with the capitalist class, and we can't expect their system to give us relief. We need a party that's not concerned about preserving the status quo, but understands that the status quo is the problem. We need fighting working class organizations that don't adopt the America First slogan.
But the answer is not to bring in cheap labor from abroad. The answer is to hire qualified American workers first.
God bless the greatest nation. Thank you very much.
We have to explain that the workers have no country, and that when the working class unites here and worldwide, there's no stopping us from getting what we deserve. Better living conditions, no more senseless war, and no more getting our rights taken away by a tiny parasitic minority. This is not just a hopeful dream, this is possible now. And it's not something that's unpopular either. Many people that we talk to are looking for this solution. The revolutionary perspective. On picket lines, at protests, and even on the street randomly, we're finding revolutionaries that are ready to get organized and fight. Our comrades are finding and organizing this layer with more success than ever since the new year. Here's just a sample of what we've done so far.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah? You've had more success than ever recruiting people in the new year? How has that happened? Could it be that the Democrats are disaffected with their own party and they're looking for an alternative to their own party, and you swooped right in there and said, you know how much the Democratic Party sucks? We all know the Democratic Party sucks. The Democratic Party failed all of us. Why don't you come over here? Because we're not the Democrats. We hate the Democrats. We hate the Democrats probably more than you do. Why don't you come over here to the radical revolutionary far left? Because even though conservatives like to say that we're all Democrats, we're not in fact all Democrats, and we present a viable alternative to the Democrats, and we will give you a home now that the Democratic Party has completely fucked up so badly that Trump is president again. Can you believe the Democratic Party fucked up that badly? It's time for you to become a communist now. That's why they're recruiting more than they ever have in the past couple of months.
that are ready to get organized and fight. Our comrades are finding and organizing this layer with more success than ever since the new year. Here's just a sample of what we've done so far in New Orleans, Seattle, Phoenix, Dallas-Fort Worth, and Washington, D.C.
Hey, my name's Oliver. I'm the press officer for the RCA New Orleans branch. I'd been a member probably since August, and we officially founded the New Orleans branch in January, and we already have 10 members. We sold out all of our January papers. We sold out our entire book stock. We've doubled our size. Things are going fantastic. And I just wanted to talk about how I became a communist real quick. It's a simple story. I had a good friend from undergrad who became a socialist. He went over to school in Brighton, England to study Marxist theory in the university setting. And while he was there, the RCP got in touch with him, and it was exactly what he was looking for. He was looking for organized, militant class struggle in Marxist theory, and he found it. And being the only American there, his Mississippi accent, he sold a lot of papers, got a lot of new contacts, he did good work. He invited me over. I took a trip with my fiance. We spent about 2 weeks there, and in those 2 weeks, I went to an RCP branch meeting. I'd been flirting with socialism for a while, but I wouldn't even begin to think of myself as a communist. But when I went there, what I saw was the most organized, professional, thoughtful, and just capable group of young people my age and younger that I had ever met. And I thought, man, these English people must be geniuses. But no, they had trained each other on the theory. They had developed themselves into cadres. They had focused on
the Revolutionary Communist Party, the international version and the American version, focus heavily on education. They focus heavily on making sure that the people that are involved in their group know the ins and outs of the Russian Revolution. These are Leninists. These are not Stalinists. They hate Stalin. They think Stalin ruined everything. They think Trotsky was the rightful inheritor of the Russian Revolution, and that if he had, we would be in a very different world today. But they do schools. They do seminars. They make they do entire courses all the time. They have meetings all the time to make sure people are thoroughly educated in what is going on. And that is one of the reasons they are so effective, because basically what they're doing is they're taking strategies that have worked in the past and doing a monkey see, monkey do to today. This is how they are growing. They are not growing because they have the biggest presence on social media. The American Communist Party, which is that stupid thing that Haas did, that is a joke. That has a lot of social media followers, but that is a complete joke on the left. They have no real world activism. These are real world activists that are going and handing out newspapers on the sidewalk called The Communist. They're going and flyering. They're going and stickering. They're recruiting members to in-person meetings. They're doing things in the real world. This is why they are growing, and they're actually able to accomplish things, because it's not just some bullshit social media thing.
On the professionalism of the party, on creating a fighting movement. I would have joined on the spot, but it was in England and I had to go home. So the second we got back, we decided to do something in Louisiana, where we're from. So we officially founded the New Orleans branch in January. Things have been going great ever since.
Hey, I'm Parker. I'm the secretary of the New Orleans branch of the Revolutionary Communists of America.
And I'm Kaylee, and I just joined like 3 weeks ago with RCA.
We saw that there was this thing called an organization fair happening in New Orleans. Comrades weren't really familiar with this sort of thing happening.
No, they are all over the country. They are recruiting on every college campus in the country. You can see their stickers on college campuses. They get posted on social media all the time. They are also recruiting in unions, in workplaces all over the country. This is not just in cities. This is not just in blue cities. This is not just in blue states. This is literally everywhere all over the country.
Outside of like college campuses, so we weren't really too sure of what the reception would be to the RCA. But suffice it to say, we were completely overwhelmed by the response, solidarity, as well as people who, like Kaylee, joined us on the spot.
Yeah, I just wanted to get organized and find some way to make a difference, especially after a lot of the Trump inauguration and executive orders. And I didn't really know what I was going into with the organization fair, but the first table I saw was the RCA, and I went through and talked to everyone else. They were the only ones that like really struck up a conversation with us And I was very interested right away, and they ended up following up the same night, and I went to the first branch meeting the next day, and I was very impressed with the professionalism and how everything was science and history based, and I joined on the spot at my first meeting.
Yes, so to kind of prepare for that, comrades, at the previous branch meeting before the org fair, we did a Myths of Marxism roundtable. So comrades all got at-bats with answering questions that we would probably expect to see at the organization fair. And just to add on to that...
Hang on. Someone deleted this question. This question should not have been deleted, guys. Like, listen, if I make you a mod, I'm not asking you to delete every single question that might exist in the chat. There's no reason this should have been deleted. So, like, if this person is still here, I apologize if you got put in a timeout. I don't know why this got deleted. If I continue to see this, guys, and the other question shouldn't have gotten deleted either. Like, the only thing that the mods should be moderating is when people are is when trolls are coming in, essentially. If you moderate things from people who are asking questions that haven't asked those same questions a million times before, I don't recognize this person, then we're just driving people away. So hang on. Okay. Mike, if you got timed out, I appreciate. I apologize. That was not my intention.
I really feel like the Trump presidency did a lot of the legwork for us. I mean, it was very easy to just point out the fact that he is surrounded by billionaires, and that really resonated with people. And we were really, I want to say, one of the few groups that was carrying an actual sense of revolutionary optimism at the event, because a lot of people were doom and gloom, and we were like, there's never been a better time.
We just came back from a strike where...
Was there some sort of weird dog sound in that video? Am I crazy?
Where people were, exactly that, militant. They're ready to go. And it's kind of shown just by how much we've grown. We've, tripled our size, still small cell, but, we've been exploding inside just like the rest of the country.
I think we're just excited to continue building the RCA, and, no matter where we go, we have comrades there.
The Seattle Comrades of the Revolutionary Communists of America kicked 2025 off with a bang. We started with the day school, where we had a discussion about the...
Well, Carlin, this is just a couple of people in a room. This is not even that many people. Why are you worried? This isn't that many people. Have any of you ever gone to a local Republican meeting? Anyone in the chat? One in the chat if you have gone to a local Republican meeting. Two in the chat if you have never gone to a local Republican meeting. I've gone to local Republican meetings. I've gone to many local Republican meetings. I've gone to local Republican meetings in New Hampshire. I've gone to local Republican meetings in other states. Okay, lots of twos in the chat. That means that pretty much everyone, looks like with the exception of a couple people, have never been to a local Republican meeting. This is more people than show up to a local Republican meeting. If you go to a local Republican meeting, you will not see this many people there. Does that mean that the Republican Party is just completely ineffective and, oh, there's not even that many people at this meeting? I don't even know why we're doing this. There's just not that many people there. Would we ever have that conversation about the Republican Party? Why is it that the communists can get more people to show up for their local meeting than the GOP can get people to show up for their local meeting? And everyone who's been to a local Republican meeting, please confirm that I'm telling the truth on this, because almost no one goes to these types of things. I have been a speaker at rallies that have had less attendance than at some of these communist meetings. That's just reality. And so we need to dispense with this notion, Carl, there just aren't that many of these people. Well, guess what, guys? Guess what? They can get more people to come to a meeting than you can. Why is that? And that was true, by the way, in 2020. That was true in 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. This is not just something that all of a sudden, oh, you know, Carlin, Trump won. Of course, people aren't going to go to meetings anymore. Trump won. We won. Why are we going to go to any more meetings? This was true the first time Trump was in office. This was true all throughout the Biden administration, and it's true again now. So there was never a time when this wasn't true. It's not as though Republicans were actually getting out and doing anything under the Biden administration. They weren't doing it then either.
Book launch of this book, Colossus, The Rise and Decline of U.S. Imperialism. We discussed the contents of this book and why the question of imperialism is more relevant today than ever before. We followed that up with a discussion about perspectives for building the RCA in 2025. And the following day was Inauguration Day, where we hosted a rally here in Seattle, where 11 comrades got up and gave speeches on different topics ranging from what is Trumpism to what is communism, and ultimately, how can we get organized and fight to end capitalism once and for all. At that rally, we had at least 20 communists come forward and say they wanted to get organized, and we've been working to get them involved in our work ever since. And I think ultimately this rally and book launch were such a success because of all the preparatory work that we've been doing, both organizationally, but of course, ultimately, theoretically, in reading and preparing politically. And so going forward, we know there's hundreds, at least, of revolutionary communists across Seattle who are desperately looking for an organization just like ours, desperately looking for people to learn with and to get organized with. And so it's our task to find them, to get out in the street, to agitate, to sell the paper. And we can only do that if we study the ideas. And so that's what we're going to be doing this year in Seattle.
Hi, this is Nick with the Phoenix RCA. Now, some people might think that Arizona only has reactionaries. Trump did win here by 10 points, and this is also the land of Joe Arpaio of SB 1070. But that doesn't mean that everyone here buys into it. They're looking for answers, and they're looking for a way out of the crisis of capitalism. Since the inauguration, we've had...
Are you telling me that they're organizing in red states? Are you telling me that even though Trump won Arizona by 10 points, there are still communist cells organizing there? I never would have guessed that that was the case. Oh, wait, I told you that was the case. Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know.
Some of our most successful tabling events, recruitment events, sales, and a school on our new book, Colossus. And in the month of January alone, we sold over 70 copies of the Communist Number 9, which is all about the limitations of Trump's program. We talk to people every day about the need for a mass communist party. We went to 2 protests around the weekend of inauguration, but at both events, we found maybe not a huge crowd, but everyone there was looking to figure out, how do we oppose Trump? People want to fight, and they're looking to fight back. What the communists need to be able to do is to sink roots into this and find the most conscious layers and train them up with the ideas of scientific socialism, that is, with Marxism.
In DFW, we have seen a shift in consciousness with all of these recent events.
Dallas! You're telling me? I was just told by a conservative earlier today that there are no communists in Texas, guys. And she was sure of it because she had never seen a communist in Texas, and there definitely weren't any since Trump got into office. But here we are. Dallas.
People to be radicalized. Both in protest and normal activity, we found discussing fighting Trumpism with communism gets them on board. Our interventions here, we've had over 40 people sign up wanting to get organized, and almost $200 in paper sales. Selling the paper can never be easier. All we have to do is connect the ideas of Marxism to where the working class are today. They have burning questions of what is to be done, and our paper provides those solutions. One look at our paper featuring Luigi Mangione is enough to capture the people we're looking for.
A couple of weeks ago, I got to go visit our comrades in Washington, D.C. and helped them build a new cell there. It was a fantastic stay. It started with a cell meeting on Marxist economics and the revolutionary press, which ended with nothing short of a 3-hour hangout at a local bar, where we discussed dialectical materialism, the Bolshevik Party, the Russian Revolution, the importance of self-study, and how we can build a strong cell in one of the toughest cities in the world to do so, the capital of world reaction, the belly of the belly of the...
Oh yeah? You've seen these people before? Then why are they growing exponentially and you can't get people to show up for a meeting? If they're so pathetic, this looks pathetic to you? They're highly organized, they're recruiting, they're growing, they're expanding, they're not having pink hair, they don't look fucking crazy, they aren't screaming into the camera. This is what you call pathetic. Okay, now we really can ban him. I'm not even joking. How many people, Mike, how many people can you get to show up to a meeting? If you don't answer my question, you're going to be banned. How many people can you get to show up to a meeting? See, I won't ban you for asking reasonable questions. I will ban you for saying dumb fuck retarded shit like this. How many people can you get to show up to a meeting, Mike? They're pathetic. I can't get anyone to show up to a meeting, and they can get people to show up to meetings, but they're the pathetic ones. That's you, bro. That's literally you. So you gonna answer my question or not? You have 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last chance. How many people can you get to show up to a meeting? No? Okay. You know, Mike, I brought you back once, and now I'm going to permanently ban you. Hang on, where's your thing? There you go. Goodbye, asshole. Don't come back.
The beast of world imperialism. I'd say a big theme of my stay was the revolutionary press, the tool that, as Lenin explained, we need to use in order to build the revolutionary party. All cells that are just starting out, it's studying this paper and selling this paper and using it in every facet of our work that's going to allow us to really build and to strengthen ourselves politically and grow quantitatively. And so that was a big part of my stay. I got to participate in 2 different paper sales with the comrades. Two of our comrades in DC sold their first newspaper. While there, I also got to meet our comrades from Baltimore and Virginia who sold some of their first papers. And then on Monday, we went to the Trump protest, the anti-Trump protest during the inauguration.
Oh yeah? When was the time you actually, when was the last time you actually did that? When was the last time you actually did that? If you can actually do that, go fucking do it. Don't fucking talk about it. Don't say, I'm sure I can do this if I just try really hard and wish upon a fucking star. Go do it. Go organize an anti-communist meeting in the real world where you get 4 dozen people. Go do it. You report back in 2 fucking weeks and you tell me how many people actually showed up. Unbelievable.
And it was fantastic. We sold around 20 newspapers. We made around 10 contacts. Afterwards, we made sure to call these contacts. And then after I left, I was informed that at the next DC cell meeting, 4 contacts showed up and joined on the spot. And we effectively doubled the size of our Washington, DC cell.
There are thousands of revolutionary communists in the US ready to organize and fight for revolution. If you are a communist and you are committed to the overthrow of capitalism in our lifetime, then the Revolutionary Communists of America is your party.
It is so fucking infuriating that these people are going to win and we are going to lose because no one cares what the actual situation is. It is so fucking infuriating. And by the way, guys, this is one communist group. This is not the entire far left. This is one specific organization. I don't really want to watch a long video if I'm honest about it. Like, I'm really like, oh, look at this. They literally just, look at this. 28 minutes ago, while we were watching that video, they launched a new video. Trump rattles liberal order. I don't feel like watching an hour and a half video. Do they have anything shorter? Let's watch this.
2025. The world is on fire. A war rages in the Middle East and in Ukraine, and there is an increasing instability in the social fabric of the United States. Cracks in the foundation of the American political system have never been more apparent to everyday working people. According to exit polls from the last election, only 26% of people are enthusiastic or satisfied with how things are going. Compare that to the 72% who are dissatisfied or angry. And why wouldn't they feel that way? 78% of people in America live paycheck to paycheck. Goods and services that cost $100 in 2020 now cost $120. Rent is 30% higher. And the reason is becoming more and more apparent to American workers.
So translation, you're not going to do anything. Translation, there's no fucking reason for you to be here. Translation, you were just blowing smoke in my chat. I know, bro. I know. We see people like you all the time. You refuse to do anything, and yet you want a pat on the back for some reason. Go away. My God.
800 billionaires hold more wealth than the bottom half of the population. Our political and economic system is dictated by a handful of capitalist parasites. The revolutionary communists of America are engaging with this growing layer of the working class, looking for a solution. Our work has shown us that there's a desperate need for a mass communist party, and there has never been a more favorable time to build one. Going into 2024, we were no longer surprised that there was a large section of the US population that considered themselves communists and wanted to take action. Polls had indicated that to us in the summer.
New rule on this channel. New rule. If it's not already clear. If you make it abundantly clear to me in the chat that you do not take this problem seriously, there is no reason for us to continue interacting. There's just no reason. This is a place for people who take this problem seriously. And every single person that does take this problem seriously should be constantly infuriated by the bullshit that we see from the conservative right and all these fucking retards that come in here and be like, they're stupid. They're pathetic. They're mentally ill. We won. They lost. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, those people are so fucking far beneath us. It is not even funny. They were lucky to even be welcomed on the channel for a minute before they ran their fucking retard mouth in my fucking chat and got themselves banned, because maybe they could have learned something. If they had the intellectual capacity to learn something, perhaps they would have listened to what was being said and taken that information in and maybe shut their retard mouth for once in their life and actually processed information that was against their fucking confirmation bias. And if they're not going to do that, then they don't need to be here. My God. Unbelievable.
Of 2023, 20% of 18 to 24-year-olds considered communism their ideal economic system, or that around a quarter of Gen Z and millennials had favorable views of communism, and even more that had favorable views of Marxism.
Hundreds and hundreds of these messages are coming in, and this is the sentiment of an entire segment of society that has emerged only in the last few years.
I am ready to take action and be part of the revolution.
I want to see a revolution within my lifetime, and I would like to feel like I contributed.
I want to get involved because this seems to be the only worthwhile way to prevent further genocide and climate catastrophe.
Been watching the world since George Floyd's death in 2020. Tired of just watching without helping.
I'm sick of sitting around and watching the world burn and watching human beings struggle at the hands of some greedy capitalists.
The world is burning, and the people burning it have named names and addresses and more money than most third world countries can even dream of.
I want to join the communists for the better of humanity. I hate capitalism with every fiber in my being.
There has never been an effective fighting force in the US that is able to organize and direct this revolutionary energy. To change that, we set out to organize this growing communist layer behind the banner of the Revolutionary Communists of America. We announced the creation of our new party on February 25th, 2024.
It's a special generation, a golden layer of revolutionary communists that is a product of history. And we've started to recruit a special kind of comrade that brings with them into our ranks a burning desire to fight, a readiness to act. We need to become the organized expression of that layer, the embodiment of that generation and its communist aspirations. We have to provide it with the outlet that it's seeking. This country, the United States of America, the land of McCarthy, the land of the Red Scare, the belly of the beast of world imperialism, the so-called superpower of world capitalism, has produced tens of thousands of revolutionary communists who are ready to fight. We will step forward and build the party that we need. That's why the Central Committee has arrived at the unanimous decision to found a new party across the US, a genuine party of action.
After this announcement, comrades led a march and rally in downtown Brooklyn. Footage of the march got over 200 million views across social media and news platforms all over the world. Since this announcement, we started a brand new newspaper.
This is the first issue of The Communist.
And of course, this podcast. Our Congress to officially found the Revolutionary Communists of America was attended by hundreds of communists from over 50 American cities at the Pennsylvania Convention Center. We then organized a large communist march through the streets of Philadelphia. When that also went viral, even Elon Musk acknowledged our so-called communist mega march on his platform X. But all of these events are just the beginning of our work that must continue in 2025. The need for a genuine
By the way, when every single conservative influencer was sharing that video and Elon Musk was responding to it, there wasn't a single one of them that actually knew what group that was. There wasn't a single one of the people who shared that video on Twitter that actually knew what group that was. And I know because I was on Twitter screaming, I've been covering this shit for months. I've literally been covering this group. We literally have this group on video saying they want to overthrow the federal government. Like in that, the same guy. We have him on video saying they want to overthrow the federal government. Not a single one of the influencers knew that that was the Revolutionary Communist Party of America, that they had been organizing for a while, that they are the new offshoot of the International Marxist Tendency. They just renamed themselves. They are almost entirely self-funded. They are not funded by Soros money. They are funded by publishing. They are funded by events. They are funded by dues. They are funded by donations. They are not funded from any major big fucking NGO or USAID or any of this bullshit. They are entirely self-fucking funded. But they got their clickbait, didn't they? They got their clickbait, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters, because that's all anyone cares about.
Communist Party goes all the way back to Marx and Engels' Communist Manifesto, where they emphasize the communist role in the class struggle, to point out and bring to the front the common interests of the entire proletariat. They explain that the communists are the most advanced and resolute section of the working class, that section which pushes forward all others. They have over the great mass of the proletariat the advantage of clearly understanding the line of march, the conditions, and the ultimate results of the proletarian movement. The tasks of the communists were further developed by Lenin in 1901, saying that the immediate task of our party is to call for the formation of a revolutionary organization capable of uniting all forces and guiding the movement in actual practice and not in name alone. That is, an organization ready at any time to support every protest and every outbreak and use it to build up and consolidate the fighting forces suitable for the decisive struggle. In order to be successful in a revolution, we have to prepare ourselves long in advance, just like the Bolsheviks did. A revolution needs professional revolutionaries that can't be made during the revolution. The RCA is the school for those future leaders. We can see the desperate need for a radical, organized,
I was talking to someone today in the DMs who was trying to tell me there just weren't enough of these people and they were never actually going to do anything. And Carlin, do they even have guns? Is that really something? Do they even have guns? And I was like, well, you're right. They're not ready to overthrow the government yet, but give them 10 to 15 years and they will be. And he said, well, why are they waiting 10 to 15 years? Why don't they just do it now? And I said, because that's not how they work. They play the long game. They don't run the 5K, they run the fucking marathon. They've been running the marathon for 100 years in this country. They're not going to start running the 5K now just because Trump got into office. In fact, Trump getting into office is going to help them recruit more than Biden did, and it's not even close. The Revolutionary Communists of America just told you that they consider themselves to be the school that will create the professional revolutionaries that will overthrow the federal government. They just said it explicitly. They are creating professional revolutionaries. They are the school for professional revolutionaries. The Revolutionary Communists of America did not become an official political party to run for office. They don't believe in running for office. That is not what they're doing. They became a political party to give people something to join, to give people a club that they could be a part of, so they could get them to go to their Marxist school, so they could get them to fund the organization so that they can become the school that will create the professional revolutionaries that will eventually, some years from now, overthrow the federal government, because they're planning ahead of time, because they know that if they believe that we are in late stage capitalism, and they know that if we get to the revolution stage, that's not the time to create professional revolutionaries. The time to create professional revolutionaries is before the revolution, so you already have them when the revolution phase actually starts. That's the phase they're in right now. They are grooming the kids right now. That is what they're doing. This is the phase where they're planting all their plants and seeds in the garden. And those plants and seeds are going to grow. And then eventually they're going to be harvested. And that's, that is the revolution.
We have to prepare ourselves long in advance, just like the Bolsheviks did. A revolution needs professional revolutionaries that can't be made during the revolution. The RCA is the school for those future leaders. We can see the desperate need for a radical, organized expression of anger with the system.
By the way, do you guys know who this is? Do you guys know who this is? That's Aaron Bushnell. That is the Marine that set himself on fire in Washington, D.C. last year to protest the Israel-Palestine war, to protest U.S. involvement in Gaza. In the past 2 days, I have seen that guy profiled on Antifa's website, and now we're seeing him deified by the Revolutionary Communists of America. This person committed an act of revolutionary suicide. Do you know what other group committed an act of revolutionary suicide? Does anything come to mind? What other socialist group throughout history has embraced revolutionary suicide? And why is it coming back now with someone that was literally in the military? Yes, that would be Jonestown. Yep, that was revolutionary suicide. Aaron Bushnell was revolutionary suicide. He is deified by the far left because he was one of them. And he was in the military. Do you really think that Aaron Bushnell was the only far leftist in the military?
In the case of Aaron Bushnell, the day we launched the RCA in February, this young active duty member of the U.S. Air Force set himself on fire outside the Israeli embassy in Washington in protest against U.S. imperialism's role in the genocidal war on Gaza. At the time we said, what is needed is organization and a clear revolutionary program to expropriate the capitalists and carry through a communist revolution. Only this can turn rage and despair into revolutionary hope and a force that will change society. Losing people like Aaron Bushnell to despair is not something that we can accept. They have to have a party. It isn't surprising that many people resonated with Aaron and understood his action.
So they're creating the party that the people who are very literally willing to light themselves on fire can be a part of. What could possibly go wrong with this plan? They are creating a party for people who are so passionate about overthrowing the federal government that they would literally light themselves on fire. That's what they mean when they say professional revolutionary.
Following his self-immolation, and for the entirety of 2024, we saw the continued ruthless slaughter of Palestinians by the Israeli state. At the time of recording, there is a ceasefire agreement that potentially puts a pause on the war, but that doesn't take back the 50,000 people that have been killed, the 1,600 families wiped off the civil registry, the 17,841 children that have been killed, 1,068 medics killed, 202 journalists killed, and 109,274 people that have been injured, while almost all of the hospitals in Gaza are out of commission due to the bombings. Neither did the so-called democracies across the world accept any protest to this massacre. Students across the country and the world followed the example of students at Columbia University in New York with the encampment movement. When pleading and deal-making with the students failed, these liberal institutions sent the militarized hordes of police.
So the colleges are liberal institutions, according to the communists, which we already knew because we read a piece of communist and anarchist propaganda back when all this stuff was going on that quite literally called them liberal institutions that are only designed to uphold capitalism, said it was the responsibility of anarchists to tear these institutions down. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but you can go back and find it. We've talked about it a couple of times. But yeah, so they don't consider the colleges and universities to be on their side. They consider the colleges and universities to be liberal institutions that are militarizing against their own students, that are literally upholding capitalism. Jesse Kelly is a retard. Jesse Kelly wrote an entire book claiming to be an anti-communist and didn't know a single thing about actual communists in the United States. He is a fraud. He is a grifter. I have nothing nice to say about Jesse Kelly. He has always been a fraud, and people should stop listening to him because he lies to them to make money, and he has no fucking clue what he's talking about at all.
On to the peaceful protesters. They were brutally repressed with state violence and slandered by the mass media. Our comrades were involved throughout the movement, offering a revolutionary program to push the movement forward.
So Colombia, yes, must divest from Israeli companies. But also, what needs to be done to end this genocide is, like we've been saying for hours on end, is one solution, revolution. In order to have that, we must globalize the Intifada.
Even though a ceasefire could be in sight, the plight of the
That means worldwide socialist revolution. Intifada, according to these people, means worldwide socialist revolution.
Palestinians is not over. Many people will still die as a result of the sheer destruction of Gaza. A return to a ceasefire only means that the Israeli state can go back to dictating the lives of Palestinians. As individuals just asking and protesting for change, we cannot combat U.S. imperialism. To quote again what we wrote in February, what is needed now is an organized expression to collect all of this rage into a powerful, invincible force, a revolutionary party that can challenge and overthrow this rotten capitalist system. Along with the slaughter in Gaza, the through-line event for us in 2024 was also the U.S. presidential election. Both American political parties are complicit in supporting Israel's slaughter, and the economic deterioration of the working class has eroded any confidence in the political establishment. Mortgage rates have reached their highest level in 20 years, and home prices have risen to record levels. No cities have rent prices affordable for minimum wage workers. Auto and health insurance premiums have also skyrocketed, and some homeowners are even dropping their home insurance. Is it a surprise then that millions of Americans hate both the Democrats and the Republicans? 69% of registered voters believe that the United States political and economic system needs major changes or needs to be torn down entirely. 64% of 18 to 30-year-olds agree that America is in decline. and 48% say it doesn't matter who wins elections, nothing changes. To address the massive rejection of both parties in the US in the absence of any alternative, we launched the Class War 2024 campaign. The campaign was a declaration of war on both parties of the ruling class, and a call for class independence. The recognition that neither the Democrats nor the Republicans can genuinely defend or advance the interests of the working class, and that we have to fight to create a mass party of our own. The aim of this campaign was to connect to this mood against the two parties, and to equip the communist generation with the tools that it needs to sink roots in every workplace, campus, and neighborhood. For all the Democrats' hard work and ignoring
what was that? What was that? What was that? Their campaign in the workplaces, the colleges, every community in America. What was that?
or advance the interests of the working class, and that we have to fight to create a mass party of our own. The aim of this campaign was to connect to this mood against the two parties, and to equip the communist generation with the tools that it needs to sink roots in every workplace, campus, and neighborhood. For all the Democrats' hard work and ignoring the discontent of Americans and painting Donald Trump as the second coming of Hitler, we are now staring down the barrel of the next Trump presidency. His victory represented a no-confidence vote in the status quo. The so-called liberal center is falling from power across the world. France's government has collapsed twice in the last year, Germany's government collapsed late last year, and most recently the resignation of Justin Trudeau in Canada signaled the impotency of liberalism. Arch-reactionary right-wing populists have been the biggest beneficiaries of this process. In the absence of a class-independent left-wing alternative in America, Donald Trump was the only candidate criticizing the status quo, and he promises big changes once he gets into office. We have yet to see how this happens exactly, but we do know that his promises to make America great again will ring hollow. U.S. imperialism is in decline. Protectionism, isolationism, and intensifying ambitions to consolidate more U.S. territories are all expressions of desperation. He's recently alluded to a takeover of Greenland, the Panama Canal, and even saying Canada and Mexico should be the next U.S. states.
You don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
But his attempt to build a great American fortress to shore up American capitalism will fail. America no longer has the same influence on the world as they used to. What could any captain do after the Titanic hit the iceberg? Whether it's Trump or Biden or anyone else, capitalism is a sinking ship. It's in decline, and you're not going to be able to stop that by working within the system. The enthusiasm for tariffs that his supporters have will evaporate once they see that it does nothing except for raise prices and fragment supply chains. His presidency will only accelerate the growing mood of anger and class discontent in American workers who are already fed up with both parties and how our society works. This brings us back to the central problem. With all this discontent, where can it go? Without organization, we will continue to see desperate attempts to do something, anything, about this broken system. The assassination of healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is another example. Just like Aaron Bushnell, the killer of the CEO was isolated from any revolutionary movement and acted individually. A large proportion of Americans support the suspect Luigi Mangione because what the working class is seeing is a small minority profiting off of us and leaving us to die when we desperately need health care.
See him in the orange jumpsuit?
Oh
He's
my
in the
God.
orange jumpsuit. Oh my God.
You're doing great, baby.
Oh, we love you, Luigi.
Our members are seeing this everywhere firsthand.
I was at a bar with some friends in Tempe, Arizona, and we saw a middle-aged guy who was clearly not a liberal, who was wearing a camo hat that said CEO Hunter on the front, and in case that wasn't obvious enough what that meant, it had crosshairs and it said United Healthcare on the back.
Wow.
I saw two guys protesting on one of the main intersections. They were holding up signs that said "Free Luigi," "Healthcare is a human right," "Socialized medicine for all," and I thought, wow, this is pretty incredible. So I parked my car, I got out, and I joined them. And it turned out that they were two friends, two coworkers, actually, and this was their first ever time that they had done anything political. And they said that they saw that there were no protests around this, and that this was something that they cared about. And we ended up having a great conversation. I held up one of their signs with them.
Last month, on my way home for the holidays, I got off the subway and ended up behind a group of kids talking about Luigi. I overheard one of them say to his friend, "Hey, did you hear they're going to give Luigi the death penalty?" And so I jumped right in and I said, "You guys support Luigi?" And they responded enthusiastically. They said, "Of course we do." And we ended up talking about private health insurance, CEOs, all of these issues, how expensive everything is, how in debt people are, all of these issues. And I made the point of saying, look, what if instead of killing one CEO, we took the companies out of the hands of all of them? And they enthusiastically agreed. One of them very eloquently said, yeah, this Luigi thing is cool, but it's really kind of futile. And we then proceeded to discuss the rest of world politics, really everything. Syria, Palestine, Russia, Putin, Joe Biden, Trump, immigration, homelessness, all of these things. And that was when I finally learned that the people I were talking to, 3 of them were 14 years old, and one of them was 10. And I think this really goes to show of the state of the youth today. Youth today aren't like I was when I was 14, didn't know anything going on in the world. They're really quite aware of events going on, and they're galvanized by things like Luigi. In the context of the crisis of capitalism, when life is bearing down so hard on everybody, it's events like these that really make people critically think. And I think these 4 kids are really just a microcosm of the potential that's out there in the youth.
And who talked to those kids? Who talked to that 10-year-old kid and the 14-year-old kids? Oh, it was the communists. The communists showed an interest in them. Where were the kids even learning this stuff in the first place? Bet it was the schools.
Were a little bit hesitant when I said the word communism explicitly, but they were really enthusiastic about our newspaper. They took all the stickers and business cards I had on hand, and I left feeling totally inspired to go out and recruit even more young people. I actually think that we will encounter these 4 again one day, and they will join. But even if they don't, I know that there's millions of youth out there just like this who are looking to get involved and were inspired by the events such as those of Luigi Mangione.
What we need is to nationalize the pharmaceutical and medical industries, hospital networks, and related clinics, and integrate them into a democratically administered public health provider offering world-class services for all. In order to do that, it will take the mass of the working class and not individuals or a handful of individuals, or not the elimination of individual CEOs, but to completely wipe away the profit motive from necessary industries. We've seen what the market affords us, not only in healthcare, but other basic needs like housing and education, or even the survival of our species and the planet altogether. Bringing in the new year for America is massive fires on the West Coast, destroying homes, infrastructure, and poisoning the air. Capitalism is the cause of this disaster every step of the way. Understanding that climate change is the cause of these extreme weather events, such as the unusually strong Santa Ana winds that are currently fanning the flames, is just one part of the equation. Let us not forget that just 100 corporations are responsible for 70% of greenhouse gas emissions since 1988. Then, even knowing how destructive these wildfires can be, Los Angeles' Democrat mayor, Karen Bass, has also cut the fire department's budget by nearly $18 million, while adding $138 million to the LAPD budget. On top of that, the privatized control of the water in California has resulted in empty fire hydrants during the heat of the battle against the blaze. Not only can capitalism not keep us safe from adversity, but it actively creates misery for the working class. Rest assured that premiums for fire insurance will go up and claims will be denied, just like in our healthcare system. Profits for the capitalists and death for their customers. In the case of insurance and otherwise, every part of our daily lives is telling us that this system only works for billionaires. This is why in 2025 we continue to build the Revolutionary Party. All around us, people aren't just suffering from paycheck to paycheck, they're also seeing a world on fire. This is the mood that produces cheers when a CEO gets killed. It produces a mood where we hear stories from our members finding communists, radicalized workers, and sympathizers everywhere.
Stop by my local gas station across the street. There's an attendant who I usually run into there. Very nice, very cordial guy. But I just happen to be wearing my big hammer and sickle t-shirt, and he couldn't help but notice. And he pointed to it and he asked me, are you a communist? To which I, of course, said, yeah, absolutely. I'm a revolutionary communist. And he was taken aback for a second, but then he enthusiastically told me that he himself is a Turkish communist. So, of course, immediately I reached into the backseat of my car. Luckily, I had a bunch of our materials, the latest issue of The Communist. And as soon as I pulled out that paper, his eyes just completely lit up. He immediately called over his coworker, his fellow attendant, in order to take a selfie with me, our fist raised in the air, holding up the issue of The Communist. I believe he wanted to send it to his friends and family. But he just could not believe it that, a real revolutionary communist party was being built, not just here in America, but internationally. Every time I've seen him since, we talk about world politics, what's been going on. The last time that I ran into him, I was filling out my car, but he pulled me aside and he reached out.
Do you see this? This is not a serious assessment of this. These people are entirely self-fucking funded. They are funded from dues. They are funded from donations. They have a war chest that they've been building for years, because this is a group that's been around since 1992, and it used to be called something different than it is now. But it has never been funded by Jewish money. It is funded by dues. It is funded by donations. It is funded by event tickets. It is funded by publishing the books that they publish themselves, the things that they sell. You don't know shit about shit. Your job, when you don't understand something, is to shut the fuck up and listen or ask questions. And if you're not willing to do any of those things, you just want to go, it's all Jewish money. I am so sick of this bullshit. Provide some fucking receipts. Provide some fucking evidence. Because you don't even know what group this is. I promise you. You just showed up. You have no fucking clue what group this is. This is something you've never looked into at all. You don't know what we're talking about, but you're going to run your money in the mouth in the chat about where all this stuff comes from. You don't know shit.
And he pulled out $100 and he said, listen, I want to help in any way that I can help you guys build. He can't attend a weekly branch or whatever, but he was prepared to sacrifice. So I just invite my comrades to, wear that hammer and sickle boldly and proudly. You never know who's going to be out there. There's, I'm sure, millions of people that want a new system, want a way out, and they're prepared to sacrifice for it. And with the task we have set ahead of us, this is no small feat we're trying to accomplish. So we're going to need all the help we can get. But yeah, go out there and meet more communist comrades.
Recently, I was closing with a couple of my coworkers, and the student strike for Palestine had just started in Canada. And I was telling them how these thousands of students have done more for Palestine than any of our politicians in the past year and a half since the genocide started. And we were talking about how they're totally silent on all of the other issues that we care about, like the climate crisis and education and housing. And I told them, here's one example. We have more homes than homeless people right now. We can eradicate homelessness basically overnight, but it's totally impossible under capitalism. And my coworker's exasperated. She's like, why can't we just have communism? Why can't we just do that? And we were just talking the rest of the night about workers' democracy and how that could run society more efficiently. And so she bought a copy of The Communist. She told her boyfriend to join the party. And my other coworker, who was more skeptical, he said, I'm not a communist yet. Just give me some time.
People are energized by our paper, even when we have it just sitting out on a table. The reason for their energy towards the paper is that in it, we are explaining what is wrong with the world and that a better world is possible. That we are right to be angry with the system. The politicians and the media can try to gaslight us, but the facts don't lie. We can afford to create a society that is based on human need rather than profit. We don't have to only imagine a world where we can get healthcare free at the point of service for ourselves, our children, and our elders. Humans produce enough wealth for this to be possible today. It is possible for everyone to have a job that pays them well without having to spend more than 20 hours a week at work. We can have the best possible education for all, tailored to our individual interests and abilities. We can start to repair the damage of climate change and to protect people from the extreme weather events which are unfortunately inevitable at this point. All of this is possible, but in order to fight for that world, we have to build a revolutionary party. There are thousands of revolutionary communists in the US ready to organize and fight for revolution. If you are a communist and you are committed to the overthrow of capitalism in our lifetime, then the Revolutionary Communists of America is your party.
Great. The only thing that we can do is accept that until more people understand what is going on, we are totally and completely fucked. And everyone listening and watching this stuff has a couple of options. Number one, you can pretend that this is not serious. Thanks, Alex. I appreciate the 20. The retardia is strong today. Thanks for putting up with it this long. Well, I mean, you know what? To be fair, most of the people in the chat were fine. And I know most of the people watching this and listening to me yell at people, like, I know that most of you agree with me. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching it. Like, I mean, maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. But, like, I know that most of you agree with me. I really do get it. I know that these are, like, the exceptions. And quite frankly, it feels good to work out my frustrations on retards that come into my chat and just don't fucking get it. But I guess people have a couple of options. You can either make fun of this and pretend that this is not a serious thing, just like most conservatives will do. You can dismiss it. You can say they don't even have any numbers. There's just a couple people at that meeting. Just because we can't get more people at our meetings doesn't mean that should be taken seriously. The conservatives are pushing us off a cliff. Yep, they are. Thanks, MacB. But another option you have, if you're as pissed off as I am about all this, is you can start speaking up. You can share this information. You can force your friends that really want to watch Fox News to watch something that is far more valuable. You can come to streams a couple of times a week and learn some stuff. And then go out and teach that stuff to other people and utilize all the information that I've given you, all the clips I've given you, all of the videos I've given you to go teach other people and to force them to look at it and to say, this is not going away. You can stop celebrating and saying, we're winning, and it's fine to be happy when things are when good things happen. It is fine to be excited about Doge. But you know what? I can say, yeah, I really like the amount of money that Doge is cutting from the federal government, and then in the exact same sentence I can say, but we're not winning and everyone needs to stop pretending that we are. I can like this thing that's happening over here and think it's good, while at the same time maintaining some perspective and not just saying, okay guys, we won, they lost, we won, and then take my toys and go home. We all need to have a part in this. This doesn't happen because I scream on the internet, okay? My platform is not remotely big enough for that, and that's just not the way it's going to work. How it can work is if the people who do watch my content and do understand, which will always be the minority of people, like what can work is if we all work together to get this information out there more. To get it in front of your friends, your family, share my stuff. I've given you many resources to share. I will continue to give you stuff to share, but we all have to have a part in this. And if you stick your head in the sand, then you are no better than the retard conservatives who say Democrats are communists, Democrats are communists, Democrats are communists, Those people are the problem. Those people are the biggest challenge that we have to actually defeating the left, is the people on the right who are constantly covering for the left by saying everything is about the Democratic Party and that's the only thing that matters. No, that's not the only thing that matters. In fact, that thing matters the least right now of any of the things that we should be worrying about. 2 seconds of this channel educates me more than every fucking thing Poole, Posobiec, and any conservatard has ever done combined. I know. I know. Yup, I know. I saw it before we watched this. I just didn't feel like watching an 1.5 hour long video, so we watched this instead. Thanks, Naruto. I appreciate it. All right, well, I'm gonna go cry now. I'm gonna go cry. But hey, you know, you can pick up my book. But hey, if you want to know one of the ways that we got here, you can pick up my new book out today, A Brief History of Racism. It is available on Amazon in paperback and in Kindle. You can pick it up there. And if you've read it, give it a 5-star review. Anything less than 5 stars, keep it to yourself, please. But if you want to give it a 5-star review on Amazon, I would really appreciate it because that will really help things out. And, you know, I'm going to be writing a lot of books about Marxism and stuff like that, things that no one else has ever told you because I'm the only one that does this stuff and everyone else sucks and we are the only people that care and everyone else, well, not everyone else. There are some people that are good. Andy No is good. Stu Studio is good. But mostly everyone sucks except us. And the sooner that we realize that, the better. Okay? All right. I'm going to go and cry into a pillow for a little while, and then I will be back at 9 p.m. tonight where we're going to do Disenrage, which is a show about spirituality that is far more entertaining than this, and we're going to talk about past lives at 9 p.m., and I'm going to talk about the time when I was probably some sort of communist leader that, like, got put up against the wall or something. Probably, like, wouldn't that make sense that that would be one of my past lives? Like, I'm compensating for my past life as a communist leader in this life being an anti-communist. I mean, that sounds like balance to me, but we will be talking about past lives at 9 p.m. tonight, and that'll be a nice little break. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I got. All right, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here? 3 months, May 17th. And what brought you here? That's difficult to answer. piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital. That's difficult to answer.